Starting, and we are live. What's up, everybody? It's Trip with Sailing Such here on YouTube. Welcome to episode 5 of the Get Out There Show. I'm so happy to have you here watching. I never really thought, or actually, I hoped the Get Out There Show would get to episode 5, but I wasn't really sure if it would ever get anywhere. I thought maybe it would. I'd just kind of try it and just go off a cliff and it would die. But you guys are enjoying it. People, are commenting and just engaging in the chat. It's been so much fun. So thank you for watching. I'm so happy. Episode 5, it feels like a good milestone, right? So, hey, I've got a good show for you guys this week. I've got a guest with us, Matt Rhodes from Matt Rhodes Fishing is with us. Say what's up, Matt.
What's up, everybody?
So he's going to be here. We're going to talk about some fishing, some paddleboarding and kayaks and all kind of good stuff. He's got a lot more fishing experience than I do, which doesn't take much to get more than I do. But so we're going to talk some fishing because, I kind of want to, with my guests, I want to kind of go from, I want to vary it between fishing people and kayaking people and gear people. So I'm trying to spice it up, and Matt is just a perfect fit. He's real close to me, so hopefully we're going to get together and do some fishing sometime soon. There for a little bit. Then we're going to go into some favorite comments and shout-outs. I've got some really good ones from this past week. You guys have been awesome with your comments. And then we're going to talk about our next potential guest. It's someone from overseas, which is kind of ironic. He contacted me, didn't even know that I had actually talked about him in a previous show. We'll get to hit that a little bit more of that later. Then we're going to go into the We've Got Mail segment where I read a couple of little letters that you guys have sent, and I got some interesting envelopes all from the same interesting group. You guys will hear about that later. And then I got this awesome package in the mail from Aaron Healy. It's going to be some really cool stuff. I haven't opened it yet, but I have an idea of what's in it. I'm not sure what's in it exactly. We're going to open it up and check that out. We're going to use that for a series coming up. Into what am I researching? What have I been thinking about here lately in regards to sailing and such and kayaking in general? And then I'm going to give you guys an excellent suggestion of an adventure to watch. It's one that I found a few years ago, and I think I watched it like 3 times when I first found it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Y'all are going to love it. And then we're going to go into a little bit, talk about some future trips that I'll be going on. And then we're going to do a live gear giveaway just for you guys who are actively watching live. So it's going to be given away live. We're going to have a little giveaway or a little contest, a little question real quick. And whoever answers it first is going to win the free gear. And what are we giving away? This stuff from last week, these little bowls and cups and plates. We're going to give a set of those away, and I'll send it straight to you to your doorstep. So that's going to be nice, all right? And then we're just going to go into some live Q&A, hang out, and answer you guys' questions. All right, so without further ado, let's get to the interview. That rhymed. That's pretty cool. All right, so we got Matt Rhodes from Matt Rhodes Fishing. He's down in Pensacola, Florida, and he does all kinds of stuff. Actually, Matt, tell us a little bit about your channel. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
It's Matt Rhodes Fishing on YouTube, guys. I live, like you said, in Destin, Florida, in the area. And I just get out and fish. I do a lot of bank fishing. We got some echo feedback. All right, we're good. But I do a lot of bank fishing is my main thing, but I do a lot of paddleboard fishing, and it's fun to get out there on the paddleboard and cruise around, and just, to me, I feel closer to the water and to fishing than any other boat or anything when I ever get out there. Paddleboard fishing is just amazing to me. I love it. I love getting out and just to get out and paddle around. It's just awesome. Sometimes I get so distracted and everything out in the outdoors that I forget to even throw a net, get my line wet. It's awesome out there. I love it. I love Destin. It's a paradise here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, well, apparently I'm lagging. Okay, it's straightened out. Okay, maybe it's a little bit better. So, all right, if I keep lagging, folks, tell me, and I can fix it pretty quick. All right. So, like you said, you've done some paddleboard fishing and stuff like that. So, all right, so fishing in general. All right, like whenever I watch, like professional fishermen and stuff, they've always got like 1,000 rods, lures, and I don't know much about rods. I don't know much about lures. I mean, is that necessarily necessary when you go out?
It depends. I think it is, but if you know the basic rod setup that you need to catch multiple species of fish, then you're good to go. Like, a lot of people will get the wrong rod and lose a lot of fish because the rod and the rod tip is bending wrong and you're not keeping that fish on the line. Like if you use a lot of mono, I would use like a medium action or a medium fast action tip. And if you use a fluorocarbon or braid, I recommend a fast action tip. But medium heavy is the way to go for any kind of rod, any kind of species. That's the best setup to go. And if you're a spinning guy, they have kayak rods out there too that has leash connectors, so you don't have to worry about losing your gear. So that's really cool.
Sweet. All right. So you got a kayak rod. So like, I guess basically what makes it a kayak rod is just that you can attach a leash, or is there something else?
Yeah, like Phantom or one of my sponsors, Kayaking, they have it's called the Phantom rod, and it's a kayak rod. It actually has a measuring tape on the back of the rod, so you lay it across your lap, measure your fish, and it has a leash ring on the end of the handle, so you don't have to worry about losing your gear. Just tie it down.
Sweet. And so do you use that one, or do you have one of those, I guess?
I do. That's actually one of my wife's #1 rods she uses when we're out on the paddleboards. I have like 4 or 5 of them.
Okay. And so like, what if people don't have that? Like what's the best way to hook a leash to a rod if it doesn't have that little eyelet or whatever on it?
I don't know. It kind of gets in the way. I don't have a lot of experience. I would hook it maybe at the butt and then to your chest. So then when you cast, it's not hitting everything, like just around the spinning reel, I guess. But everything gets in the way. I like it at the end. If there's any way you can put something in the butt of your rod so you can click it there, it's the best spot to me.
Has anyone ever tried like duct tape leashes?
They've got you know how you can do the hook holders, duct tape leashes, how you can do the hook holders. And if you get a bigger rubber band and put that hook holder there, you can click it, that you can lock your leash ring to that right on the butt.
Okay, all right, but so no one's really tried duct tape leashes, I guess.
No.
That needs to be something that my new little alter ego is gonna have to try. Duct tape leashes, sassy. More on that later. All right, cool. Or a zip tie. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Zip ties.
Yeah, zip ties are great. I've used zip ties on everything.
Okay. All right. So if someone's just getting started, like what are some what's a good beginner setup? Like how many rods and reels? I mean, do they need to carry different types of rods, different types of reels when they go fishing?
The hardcore people will, but if you're a kayak or paddleboard fishing, I say you don't need more than 2 rods. If you do like bass fishing, I would do bait caster if you're good at that. If not, 2 spinning rods. And if you're worried about stuff getting in the way, have travel rods out there that telescoping rods that'll break down. They won't get in the way. You just pull them out and start fishing. But yeah, spinning rods is probably the go-to for beginners. It's the best thing you could ever get. And just have 2, no more than 2 guys, because any more than that, stuff just starts getting in the way out there and you start losing tackle.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could see me, getting carried away and not watching when I'm like, fishing in a river or in a pond and just getting blown to the side and just my rod just getting all tangled and me just making an incredible video, an incredibly entertaining video, but it would be a pretty horrible experience.
Yeah, if I put on my videos of how many times when I take 4 rods out, of how many times I hook another rod behind me, yeah, it would be like a ton of videos, because I do it all the time.
And
it's annoying.
Have you ever put that in your videos?
I haven't, but I maybe have to do that.
You need to do that. You need to do that, man. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it funny, in my opinion. But maybe I just put in there because I have nothing else to film, because I can't film me catching fish, so I may as well film me screwing up, right?
Yeah, a lot of times I won't even hit the record button unless I have a fish on. Sometimes when it's like not a lot going on, but I know I always miss the funny stuff. So lately I've been doing nothing but keeping the record button going, because I'm a goofy fisherman.
You're a goofy fisherman. You've never been fishing with me. Just wait. You have no idea. I'm telling you the truth right there. All right. So you do paddleboards, right? Like I've been thinking about a paddleboard. First I thought, I knew I wanted to get into fishing. And I was like, okay, I need to get a fishing kayak. And I look at them, and there's like thousands to choose from. And like the good ones, I'd love to get one that has pedal drive, but they cost a lot of money. And so I'm like, all right, what's something else different I could do? And I'm thinking, okay, a paddleboard. All right. So if I'm thinking about a paddleboard, I mean, am I crazy to think that would be good for fishing? I mean, I know people do it, but I mean, am I crazy to think, okay, I need to get a paddleboard instead of a fishing kayak?
It's really kind of the pace you're going to go fishing at. Like a nice calm days is perfect for paddle boards, but some kayaks are built, they're like 100 pounds and they can take on the 4-foot swells out there, no problem. Paddleboard, it's like 32 pounds, throw it over your shoulder. It's like perfect for, like, you can keep it on your car all the time and just grab it and go. That's what I love about the paddleboards. And it takes like 5 minutes to put your stuff on it and go.
Yeah, see, exactly. Simplicity. Like, that's what I like, because, I started, sailing and stuff was my first adventures. And you talk about not simple, try sailing. But it's a great thing, but it's not simple. So I switched to kayaking. But, so I just envision, a paddleboard, extremely simple, like you said. Now, all right, so you said, a sea kayak or a fishing kayak is made to take on waves. Couldn't a paddleboard take on waves too? Or am I missing something?
No, they're super stable. They're not going to flip unless you get into a swell sideways, and you go with the wave, just like when you're surfing. But paddleboards are amazing. You can get in a 4-foot swell, it's perfectly fine. I think the key is to use a drift sock, because when you throw a drift sock out and behind you, it'll keep you level when the waves are coming over and it'll pull against. So drift socks are really key. I think with kayaks and paddleboards, it'll keep you level.
Okay. All right. And something I thought the other day, like, have you ever had an instance where, like, you see a snake in the water, sometimes you feel a little more secure on a kayak because you have an actual, gunwales or whatever the side of the boat's called, or the kayak. But on a paddleboard, it's like flat with the water. Do you ever think, if that snake's in the water, he'll just come right up on my paddleboard?
To tell you the truth, I feel like I'm more safer on a paddleboard because I feel like you're standing up. So in my mind, I feel like I'm a little bit further away from that snake, instead of sitting down and you're so much closer to the water level and it's right there by your face. So if you're wearing boots or whatever and it does come up on your paddleboard, it's not going to strike you like in the face, like how low you are on a kayak.
Sweet.
So.
Sweet. That's like exact opposite of what I thought. So that's good, because one of my ideas is to, like, actually go do some snake hunting in a swamp on a paddleboard. Would that be pretty good? Or some gator hunting?
That'd be pretty crazy. That'd be crazy.
Exactly. Crazy.
I'm going to pop over to the questions. Here's a good question. It says paddleboards don't have storage, or at least enough storage. And what's that? We All Row is his name. But it does, actually. To me, a paddleboard is a clean slate. You can put as much storage as you want. I've stacked milk crates full of tackle on behind my cooler where I sat down. And then the Engel cooler has rod holders built in. So you can put as many rod holders. I think I put like 8 rods on my paddleboard one time, on rod holders in the milk crates, rod holders there. I've put 5-gallon buckets on it with bait fish. I put like tons of stuff. Like, I have pictures. If you guys check out my Facebook, you can see me all decked out with tons of stuff on my paddleboard. They're actually you can stack them, man. You can tons of tackle on there.
Yeah, and it actually, like, to me, like, the paddleboard is more photogenic. It looks cooler in a video because, that dude, he's like minimalist. He's on a paddleboard. It kind of has that cool aspect, because everyone knows that you can get a good wide stable kayak with a lot of storage and a lot of, little knickknacks and accessories. But, if you're on a paddleboard, you got to kind of work harder. So it's, it has a little more of a cool factor. Wouldn't you think? Maybe.
It does. I like it. And if you want to go out one day and not fish, you can go surfing and do whatever you want to do. Just paddle around. I've seen people go with just one rod and a paddle and have the rod laying down on their paddleboard. Super light, super awesome looking. You can hop off real quick. If you tie I like to tie a leash to me and the paddle, so I can just hop off in the flats and you just keep the paddleboard dragging it behind you. But it's so photogenic. All my photos look amazing on the paddleboard. I love it. I love just being on the paddleboard.
Yeah. See, like, that's what I kind of envision. Everyone envisions this paradise. They have this awesome idea in their head, but once they actually get out there and do it, it doesn't always work out. But it sounds like a paddleboard might be pretty darn good, and really, I think that it can almost take the place of a kayak in, I don't know, maybe 75% of the instances. Can you think of somewhere? I know you can, but like, what are some instances where you would definitely want a kayak and you definitely wouldn't want a paddleboard?
I don't know. I could tournament. You can kayak fish tournament with paddleboards and do just as good. I think rivers are fine. You can get a little more when you're going against current and rivers, if you're trying to go up rivers and then go back down, it's going to be a little harder on the paddleboard because you're standing and you got to really pump and use your abdomen and your abs. When a kayak, you're sitting down, so it's all arm strength and you can get it going pretty quick, and they have some pretty fast ones. But at that instance, I wouldn't be using a fishing paddleboard either. I'd be using a faster paddleboard.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, Chris Beck in the chat, he asked, what about dry storage and camping on a paddleboard?
They have tons of dry coolers and then dry bags. Like I have a couple of 30-liter dry bags. I can put a ton of my camping stuff in there and just strap them down. Actually, you can strap them down, throw them over, let them float behind you, and they don't leak. So you can have tons of storage. But yeah, I have an Engel cooler, and it's a DryBox, and it keeps. I'll put my phone, I put everything in there, and it keeps everything super dry, especially when it's raining and stuff. So
yeah, I know I've seen the Engel coolers, and they look pretty awesome. I mean, so are they legitimately dry? Because I'm considering getting one. So are they legitimately dry? Do they keep your stuff dry for real?
Yeah, they have a gasket around it, and they have your two little things, and you lock it down, the lid, and the gasket seals it, and it's completely dry. I've dropped it in the water a couple of times and never had any water go in it.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be, they're pretty lightweight, right? Like especially compared to like a Yeti cooler.
Yeah, I'll have it full of my fishing tackle, and I just grab it with a handle, take it, put it on my board, and hit the water. It's super light.
Huh. All right, and yeah, like you spoke of dry bags, but they also they have these deck bags, which are more made to go on your deck, and you can strap them down to the fasten points on the decks of the paddleboards, and they're really a little more slimline. They're going to hold their place better. So I think those would be good to use for camping and stuff. And really, if you think about it, you compare the storage capacity on a kayak to the storage capacity on a paddleboard. I mean, I think I think they're going to be pretty close, really. Because you just have this open space on a paddleboard, but in a kayak, you've got, especially like a fishing kayak, you've got where your seat drops down, and all the different funky stuff that all the structure and stuff within the inside of the kayak that's going to kind of take up your space, where your rod holders go down, and all that blah 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 stuff. So you really have a lot of freedom. You can really just load the paddleboard down as much as you want. You can still keep it kind of slimline and close to the water. Yeah. So, I mean,
one awesome thing I love over paddleboards over kayaks is when when you're in a kayak and you're trying to fish and you got to reach around and grab something way back in the back, and you almost flip over your kayak. Paddleboard, you just spin around and grab whatever you need. I mean, you don't lose your balance. I've fished it backwards. I've fished it forwards. It's awesome to be able to stand up and turn around and get whatever you need from the far back, the far front, and it's easy. You don't have to worry about, and it's super stable. Yeah, like I've done it a couple of times, reaching back the kayak and almost falling out the side.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. I'm reading the chat. Tony Martins, he said, how long are paddleboards? So what are your general lengths of when you think about paddleboards?
About the same as kayaks, about 12 and a half, 13 feet. And 35 inches wide is what you're going to want for the good fishing stability. 33 is not too bad, but 35 is amazing. 35 feels like you're walking around on a barge. I mean, it's super stable. You can stand on one side and it doesn't tip over.
Okay.
33 is a little wobbly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then lengthwise, like I know they have some that are super long. Then they have some that are short. I guess made more for like surfing. Because like they have some that they call a paddleboard that are like short as 9 foot, right? Don't they?
Yeah, they have 9 foot, 10 foot ones. The thing about those when you fish on them and you get some weight on those is when you paddle, they tend to turn. They tend to like go like this, so the paddling is kind of back and forth and wobbly. So you want to get that longer one because they seem to tread a lot straighter and a lot better.
Yeah. I'm reading the chat. BM Lunker said, surely comparing a touring kayak to a stand-up paddleboard, it'll be much slower rate of travel. Yes, definitely. And I would never really compare a touring kayak to a stand-up paddleboard because that isn't even fair. So I think what we're talking about more is your actual, is your, run-of-the-mill fishing kayak, which is wide and a flatter bottom, and it's going to be heavier and stuff. So it'll kind of compare a little bit better to a stand-up paddleboard in terms of speed. All right, yeah. So let's talk about that, Matt. Let's talk about what are the paddling differences when you compare a stand-up paddleboard and a fishing kayak in terms of speed and maneuverability and tracking?
To tell you the truth, I like paddle boards will track super straight. They're awesome. They come, they don't have the double paddle, which is your option. You can get that. But if you get a big, nice paddle, you can do like one pump and get like good speed from one good pump. And it's amazing with a kayak. It takes a couple good ones because kayak paddles don't get huge. They get kind of small. I mean, they're tiny or smaller or lighter. But you get a carbon fiber paddle with a big old paddle on the bottom, man, you can go. It's super fast. And they have touring paddle boards that goes super fast or meant for races and stuff. But you can't. I fished off one and it's a little unstable. So you don't want to do that. You want to go with fishing. Like if you want fishing, you want a fishing kayak, you want a fishing paddle board. Or really anything you can afford that's going to be stable and you don't get wet.
Right. And I see a CJ Leon. He said, stand-up paddle kills my lower back. Got to stick to the yak. Yeah, but there's always the option of getting, like someone mentioned just a minute ago in the chat, the Larry chair. You get the Larry chair, which is this really cool, really nice, comfortable chair that like unfolds and sits on top of your paddleboard, and you can still paddle your paddleboard with a double-bladed kayak paddle and be pretty much just like a kayak, right? Isn't that pretty much true?
Yeah, you can do that. You can sit all the way down on the like I like to do when it's windy, so your body's not catching the wind. I'll sit down in front of my cooler all the way on the paddleboard and paddle. But yeah, you can get a kayak paddle and just paddle along just like a regular kayak, and you have your same sitting down. See, I'm actually the complete opposite. My lower back starts to hurt when I'm sitting all the time. And when I'm on the paddle, I could sit down on the cooler, but when it's starting to hurt, I could stand up for a little while, and then vice versa. I could actually, sometimes I'll get just paddle on my knees, and it's cool to do that.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about bringing a double-bladed paddle, and of course the stand-up paddles they're longer. They only have a single blade on one end and a handle on the other end. So do you ever carry both?
I don't, but I think in the future I can see it happening is because the handles on the single blade you can pull out. So I think in the future they're going to have replacement ends, so you can be able to do both or do a whole bunch of cool stuff with it. So I'm pretty sure they're going to come out with that soon. I've had tons of ideas. Maybe I need to come out with it.
Sweet. Oh, absolutely. Which that takes a lot of money to come up with a product. Yeah. That's a totally different animal than just making videos like we're doing here. And hey, Sam Hines, he said, "Me and my kids love you, Trip." Hey, Sam, tell your kids I said, "What's up to the Hines family?" All right. Yeah. So you're talking about sitting on the paddleboard or getting on your knees on the paddleboard. I mean, really, you can do everything you can do on a kayak per se on a stand-up paddleboard, and kind of even more, like you just said, because if your back starts to hurt, which mine's done that before in a kayak, you can stand up or you can change positions. You can lay down on that joker if you want to. I mean, they're pretty versatile. I mean, that's what's kind of drawing me to them.
Dude, that's my favorite thing versus the kayak too. Is I get out there and I throw a line out and I'm using like bait fish or something, and I get bored, man, I can lay down on the front of my paddleboard and take a nap. And it's kind of hard to do that on the kayak because you're stuck in that chair in that upright seating position. But yeah, you can lay down. Oh, it's nice. It's almost like a hammock in the water that floats around. It's just perfect.
Exactly. And Weirlow said, "Wouldn't trade my yak though." And yeah, you're right. I probably wouldn't trade a yak. I know I definitely wouldn't trade my touring kayak for a paddleboard because that's a totally different animal. But in the perfect world, I'd like to have a fishing kayak and a stand-up paddleboard. But I think first I may venture into the stand-up paddleboard hybrid kayak and see where that leads me. And then down the road, when I can afford it, when my means get me there, I'll get a fishing kayak then. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think there probably is a time when a fishing kayak would be good to have over the paddleboard.
There's tons of times like I wish I had both because there's tons of times where like, man, I can't get out with a paddleboard today, but if I had my awesome fishing kayak, so yeah, there's tons of opportunities. And one thing is a lot of people are afraid because of the stability. They see a lot of people surfing and stuff and falling off, and it's not the same paddleboard situation at all. And when I put people on my paddleboard, they fall in love. I mean, I do demos all the time for people, and they'll hop on my paddleboard and paddle around, and they'll fall in love. Hopefully, you'll see on on 30 miles out. I know they're on your show not too long. Hopefully you'll see some paddle boards in there soon because they're really wanting one now. I keep taking them out.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So we got two things I kind of want to address in the chat. Let's see here. Aaron Brinkman, he said, how are paddle boards on a river?
Like I said earlier, it depends on current. If you're trying to go upstream, if you're just trying to cruise down current, they're awesome. I love it. I love to cruise around on the paddleboard down current. It's like standing up in a canoe and just paddling around. If they're going upstream, it's like a canoe again. It's going to be a little harder going upstream than a kayak, unless you have one. It's meant for treading really good upstream, like the thinner, like 32, 33 inch will be perfect for going back up current. But they're fine. I mean, I go around over here on mine, and there's stumps everywhere, and I do fine. I don't fall off. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then a perfect transition to another question. Tony Martins, he said, I surf, and my boards have fins on the back of the boards. Do stand-up paddle boards have fins? Well, yes, some of them do. Actually, probably most of them do, but they have some. A few different companies make them. They're actually, rotomolded paddle boards that are made out of the same plastic that they make the kayaks out of. And some of them don't have fins. They actually have, a special hole with kind of, skegs and keels molded into the hull, so you don't have to have the actual fins. And so those, going back to the river subject, those are probably very well suited for a river because you don't have to worry about if you're going over rocks or sandbars or logs or something, breaking those fins off, because that's kind of something that I would like to do. I envision me getting one of the stand-up paddle boards that is the plastic ones that are tough as nails, that you don't have to worry about breaking the fins off, and taking it to the beach, taking it to the, to the Florida, Clear Springs in Florida, and also taking it to some rapids and seeing what kind of crazy stuff I can do going down some rapids on a stand-up paddleboard. Granted, I might be sitting on it or something, but it would still be pretty good video. So, I mean, I think, paddleboard could still do pretty good in a river, if not just fine. It would be so much fun being on a stand-up paddleboard, going down some rapids like in my Coosa River trip. That's really what I want to do. I'm going to do that. It's going to be great.
And there's options. You can look at, and there's paddleboards that have 3 fins. It's got the 2 small ones and the 1 big one. And the small ones are fine. I can slide right over stumps and stuff. And you can reach under and pop that big one off pretty easy. But there is some that only have the big one. Yeah, and those, I mean, you got to pick and choose. And then there's inflatable ones. I don't know if you guys ever seen the inflatable kayaks. Throw them in your trunk, inflate them for in 5 minutes, and then go down the river. Those things are awesome on the river. I love the inflatables on the river. They're so comfortable too.
Yeah, I have seen the inflatables, and I've read I've read about them, watched a few videos about them. I've never seen one in real life, and of course I'm always questioning them. But I mean, are they really pretty durable and I mean pretty stiff? I know I've seen some people, someone will stand on one in the middle and they'll pick it up and it doesn't really bend much. I mean, are they pretty decent quality?
Yeah, if you get the right air pressure in there, they won't bend at all. And you can leave a little out for some cushion kind of thing. They're good quality. When I go to my demos, I try to fish off every type of paddleboard there is for YOLO board, and they have the inflatables. And I've hit a couple with my hooks thinking I was going to pop it, and it didn't pop it at all. It's made out of that, I guess, how those marine, like the Navy SEALs boats when they come in, it's made out of that same material. So they're pretty durable. They can hit some sharp objects and survive. Right,
yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I know that, I did some YouTubing, some searching on YouTube and I saw where these guys are actually taking the inflatable stand-up paddleboards down some serious rapids. I mean, some white water for real, and they're freaking hauling tail down there, and they're standing up the whole time. And undoubtedly, those stand-up paddleboards have to be pretty durable to withstand that. So I guess those are the kind that you're talking about. It's just some really stout ones.
And the inflatables, almost every company, they're pretty really affordable. I go out there and have fun. I fished off of them and had fun, so pretty affordable.
Right. Well, all right. So you fish off of them. So are you worried about hooking them? And
like I said earlier, I was worried about that when I went out there and I actually had a hook hit it. And for a second, I had to get down and pull it off, and it just hit a seam, and it no air, it didn't pop it, didn't do anything. It did fine with the hook. I mean, I'm sure you do have to be, if you hit it just right, because hooks are super sharp. So.
Exactly. Hey, what's up, Alex L, and what's up, Paul Peck? Glad you guys have made it. Yes, CJ Lyon said the Zodiac. Yeah, the Zodiac is the boat that the Navy SEALs use out there that are tough as nails, probably bulletproof. Probably not. But hey, I'm watching the chat. I really appreciate you guys are helping answering questions that people are asking on there. I know someone asked, what are some good inexpensive camping kayaks, and you guys are helping them out. I appreciate that. That is awesome. That is what makes a great community. So thank y'all very, very, very much for that. All right. So, Matt, have you ever done any camping on a stand-up paddleboard?
Not on the paddleboard, but I can imagine it being pretty nice. We should maybe one day if you come down, we'll go out and I'll camp on it.
Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, Matt and I were talking before we went live, and we're talking about camping, and he's really excited and really wants to do some camping. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah, I want to do a challenge actually.
Oh, tell him about your idea.
I want to. You guys gotta get on trip. I want him to come down. We'll do camping. We'll do fishing. We'll do a challenge, and whoever wins out of the challenge is got to do someone else's. I told him I'll eat some kind of bug or insect or whatever he wants me to eat, but I'm gonna make him apply for Naked and Afraid TV show. I think that would be the best thing ever. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be naked on there, but I'd probably be afraid.
I'd be afraid to be naked on there.
Yeah, exactly. In front of the world, pretty much, and in front of my friends and family.
Just remember, they blur it out.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Behelm Lunker, he said, he asked, "Are you a ground dweller, Matt?"
I mean, I grew up bank fishing, so I would say I am. But the past few years, I've been doing paddleboard. I'm loving it. I'm loving the water, loving the ocean. But I would say I still am a ground dweller.
All right. Well, how about when you go camping, you camp in a tent, or would you prefer a hammock?
A tent.
Okay, tent. All right. So I think that's what he was referring to as a ground dweller.
But to tell you the truth, I've slept right on the ground, like out hunting and stuff, and napped all day long. So I can sleep. I don't need either. I'll just sleep right on the ground. The paddleboard, you can take the fins off and sleep right on the paddleboard. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's another good thing I like about the paddleboard is it's somewhere to freaking sleep. So that'd be pretty cool to do a video sleeping on a paddleboard, especially if it was like anchored out. Because like you go to some state parks and stuff where they're really strict about you camping on the land, but you can still pull up there on your boat and anchor out and camp. So wouldn't that be cool to sleep on your paddleboard? I don't know. Would they? You think
I'd be scared? I would have to sleep with my life vest because I was scared that I'd roll off, have a nightmare, and be in the water.
Yeah, it'd be a good video though, right?
Yeah, it'd be a great video.
But do you think that if you were like shifting in the night, would the paddleboard like go under enough to come back up and just get you soaking wet? You think that would happen?
I mean, sometimes it does get wet. Like when you're in some rough waves, water does pop over it and it'll run down and run off. So you will get a little wet depending on how bad the waves are. Sweet.
Oh, Chris Becky just got a kayak from Craigslist and a Ascend FS12, but I love it. Awesome. Any kayak is better than no kayak. Nothing wrong with an Ascend FS12. What's up, Nate? And what's up, the Wandering Electrician? Glad you guys made it.
And Craigslist is amazing. Gotta go Craigslist, man.
Yeah, Craigslist.
You'll find paddleboards half price on there. You'll find awesome deals.
Yeah. And not only Craigslist these days, but in the past, couple months, I think, since Facebook rolled out their marketplace, that is where you need to look because it's a lot easier for someone to list something on the marketplace than it is Craigslist. So if y'all haven't found that yet, check out the the Facebook marketplace and be wowed because in my area, they have more paddleboards and more kayaks than Craigslist.
Same here.
Yeah. So that would be very, very, very nice to find, awesome deals because that's kind of what you got to, what you have to do sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So Matt, are there any other little points or tips or anything you want to share with the audience? Because we've been for about almost a pretty good while now.
I guess for all those people who don't fish and want to get into fishing off kayaks and camping and stuff, a good basic rig for bait and live bait is I call it the Carolina rig for everything, the C rig. it's going to be, you're going to have a little egg sinker or pyramid sinker, and then you're going to have your swivel, and then your leader line, and then a circle hook. 2/0 or 3/0 is the best size for mostly. I catch bait fish on 2/0 hooks, so that's probably the best size for everything. Throw some shrimp on there, throw anything on there. I've caught a catfish on a bear hook before, so you just got to get out there and fish for that. But that's a perfect start if you want to get out there and catch some monster fish. I've caught big bull reds on that setup.
Okay, and what? So just throw out there, sit on the bottom, and something's going to come eat it.
Yep, a lot of big fish are bottom dwellers, so yeah, something's going to come and eat it.
Sweet, awesome. Hey, someone said, Lynn said, "Hey Trip, great show from offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to guess on an oil rig. Thanks for watching, Lynn." And let's see. Oh wow,
there's a Wi-Fi or internet out there. Holy cow!
What? They're high class out there. I have a friend who works on an oil rig. He says it's pretty nice out there on some of them. They eat like kings and queens. Like he gains weight when he goes, and they still work hard. Let's see. The Wandering Electrician, he said, bought 3 of the 5 yaks I have off Craigslist and still check daily for the next one. Exactly. I'm always checking both just to look. If there's a deal up, you never know. It may be just a deal of a lifetime, and you got to snag it, even if you have enough kayaks.
I call them hardcore Craigslisters. They check every day for a deal. That's hardcore. I'll check like once a month, maybe.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. Well, I check at least every other day.
Unless I'm in a hard search for something that I don't have and I really want, I'll check it. But if you already have 3 out of 5 kayaks, you have 5 kayaks and you're still looking. That's
maybe
crazy.
He needs to see someone about his addiction. I'm just kidding.
Or he's going to start a charter.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I guess I look often because I am looking for a kayak. All right, let's see here. JP Adventure says, "Hey Trip, that Grilly Put grill is awesome." Yes, it's very awesome. I love that grill. That's the one I use to cook my fish and crabs over the fire. That thing is fantastic. Nate said he caught a big catfish and it pulled him in his kayak. Here we go. Brandon Lynch said, "How do you feel about using rudders, fixed or not? Looking to install one on my sit-in that I converted to a fishing kayak." Well, I think really the only time that you need a rudder on a fishing kayak is if you're doing a lot of paddling in the wind. Or, no, I don't want to say the only time, but I think that's the main reason you want a rudder. If you want to install one, buy a kit to install it, is if you're paddling in wind and you need it to straighten you up. Because if the wind's coming from the side and you're paddling, it's going to keep turning you in one direction. And so you use the rudder to correct it. Wouldn't you agree? Is that the primary use of a rudder, Matt, isn't it?
That, and if you do the foot pedals, I mean, it's the only other reason you would need it, because the foot pedals, you can't really angle your paddle like, in a certain area to push yourself a different direction. So if you have foot pedals, or if it's super windy, is the only time you really need a rudder. I mean, you can get by without one.
Right. Oh, wow. DGWTX said, "Just bought a Dagger Apostle 17-footer and an Aquaterra Sea Lion 17-footer off Craigslist. First time out was with the Dagger at just over 2 miles, and second time out with the Aquaterra was 3.5 miles. Those are some good finds. Those are really good touring kayaks right there, folks.
Yeah, I was like, those sound like they can just cut through water like butter.
Exactly. Those are the Ferraris of the kayak world. Mariana's watching. All right. Thanks, Mark, from Mariana. I hope you get down there soon when I get a stand-up paddleboard and do some filming at the Merrick's Mill Pond, where it's crystal clear, beautiful water.
Robert said he had a 2-mile sleigh ride on his kayak.
Is that?
Golly.
That's probably pretty serious.
Yeah, that's like catching a sailfish or something out here, and it takes you 2 miles out every time. And you got to paddle all the way back in. That's just crazy. That's hard. The thing about that is if you go 2 miles out and you are trying to paddle back in, take your time, because you'll get exhausted when you're trying hard. Just take your time and relax. I want to get a sleigh. My wife's caught a giant 28-pound bull red on a paddleboard. What's funny is I haven't caught a fish that big yet. She's beat me. I catch big bass and stuff, and I had a bass and a gator pull me around, but not 2 miles.
Wow. Yeah, that would be. I'd be a little nervous if after that first mile. How far is Moby Dick gonna pull me out to sea?
Yeah.
I'd be a little worried. I'd be thinking, okay, maybe it's about time to give up and throw in the white flag, right? Let's see. Roger Blaber said, my kayak dealer says yaks are like golf clubs. You need a full set. That's a salesman right there.
That sounds like a good meme.
It does. That does sound like a good one. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's see. You can check. Boop, 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 boop. All right, yes. Dwayne, I've got your question. I think that's a good one, and I say that for the Q&A later. Let's see, CJ Leon said turn around. Yeah, I know you guys have been talking about this painting. This is my mother painted this. This is a rendition of me. She painted this after my old sailboat, a Montgomery 17, a photo that I took with it. And I guess this is me about to get eaten by Moby Dick. So had a lot of good times on her. But like I said, I was just trying to simplify things, so that's kind of why I phased out of the sailing, and I'm getting even simpler and simpler in the kayaks and stand-up paddle boards and kayak fishing, of course.
You should put a sail on your kayak.
Yes, yeah, I would definitely like to put a sail on the kayak, and I'm kind of waiting to get the kayak of my dreams, the touring kayak of my dreams before I do that, because I really don't want to, screw a bunch of holes and stuff in the kayak that I have now, which is like an old kayak. It's still a great kayak, but it's older, and I don't want to spend that $500 on it and then have to turn around and spend it again on when I get the kayak, the touring kayak of my dreams. So I'm just waiting for that time. One day.
If you do it on a paddleboard, you're just kite surfing then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do they make paddle boards? I guess stand-up paddle boards where you can put a sail kit on them?
Not the paddle boards, but you can buy those with the sail kit.
Well, yeah, you can buy a windsurfing, what do they call it?
I think it's windsurfing, and then you have the kite surfing guys that have whatever, I don't know. They're crazy. They're out here like a ton over here off Okaloosa Island, like just tearing it up.
Yes, and
a good fishing spot.
Yeah, and you watch the bloopers of the kite surfers, and when they get sucked up and thrown down on the rocks, yeah, that looks like great fun. River Kings asked, "What kayak am I shooting for?" The touring kayak I'm shooting for is a Wilderness Systems Tempest 170. That's what I'm shooting for because it has a drop-down skeg, which is said to be better for sailing. So that's what I'm waiting for. One day I'll get one. Let's see.
Here's a good question. We can save that for later if you want, or I can tell them now.
Rays?
Yeah.
You can go ahead with it. We'll go ahead and make your day, Ray.
Ray says, "What's the most scared I've been on a paddleboard?" Okay, here it is. Me and my buddy Brandon was out fishing the flats, and we caught some trout, and I had them on the line, like out behind me. And I was doing something, and I heard some crazy noise, and I looked up, and a 6-foot bull shark was like, it's like he could scent the trout, and he was just tearing the water up behind me. And he was like literally like 5 feet behind me, and it was big too, like 6 foot. It was the craziest moment. All I could think of is he's after the trout. Let me get the trout out the water, and then I'm gonna try to catch him. So I pulled the trout out the water, and then he just disappeared. It's like when the scent came out the water, he was gone. I couldn't catch him or anything, but that was the scariest. He was. And dolphins scare me all the time too. They try to flip us off the paddleboards all the time, but no, the sharks.
What, dolphins try to flip you off the paddleboard?
Yeah, every time we launch over here by my house, there's like a mom and baby dolphin, and it always chases me and my wife around and tries to play and flip. And they'll be right next to the boat or the paddleboard. It's crazy.
And do you have that on video?
I think we had a couple. I couldn't get them where they're right next to it, but we had a couple where they're just off of the paddleboards and they're playing and rolling around.
That's pretty awesome. Is it fairly clear water there?
Yeah, you can see the bottom and everything.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like it's around the grass flats is usually where I fish, so you can see the bottom. You sight fish all the fish and everything.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I love dolphins, and I just picture so much awesomeness happening on a stand-up paddleboard. It's ridiculous. Like I see all these cool, epic, beautiful videos. I just have a lot of ideas up here, folks. A lot of ideas.
YOLO Board's made some awesome, sweet-looking videos. It's really cool with some clear water stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of them, they have drones that really make the cinematic footage, but I don't have a drone, and I'm afraid I just lose it and break it. All right. Green Ghost said, "Gotta go." See you, Green Ghost. Have a nice one. Thanks for watching, man. Let's see here. Those are great stories, yes. Chris Beck said dolphins are the devil, not compared to a shark. Yeah, so have you had any shark encounters on a stand-up paddleboard?
Like the one I just tell him I had that 6-foot bull shark.
Yeah.
Which those things are mean. But no, dolphins are. I have to agree with them. Dolphins are the biggest pest ever around here. And Destin, they're everywhere, and they're a pest. If you're trying to fish, they'll interrupt you. They'll take your bait fish. They'll do everything. They're worse than sharks around here. I'd rather catch a shark and have fun catching a shark.
Flipper just gets a bad rap. I don't know. I guess I don't know because I don't fish, so I just see them. I'm like, oh, those beautiful dolphins, and I want to jump in and swim with them. All right, cool. All right, well, hey, Matt, I think that's been a great interview. I think we covered a lot of good topics, and so I think I'm going to get to the other segments of the show, but then, of course, we're going to have the Q&A coming up in a little bit. Love to have you stick around for that and join us for that because it's always a lot of fun. I know you have a lot of knowledge that you'd be happy to share. So you think you might stick around for that?
Yeah, I'll stick around. I'll mute myself and watch the show and maybe answer some questions over here.
Sweet. Awesome. That would be fantastic, man. All right. So you guys, that was Matt Rhodes. And, of course, you can find a link to his channel in the YouTube description below. Go check him out. He posts pretty darn often, and he's hustling more and more, I've noticed, because I've been subscribed to him for a pretty good while now. So go and check him out. So let's talk about next week's guest or a next guest. I don't have it locked down as next week yet because we're still trying to work out things. We're still kind of talking back and forth. But it's actually, if you guys remember, I think it was episode 2. In the What to Watch segment, I mentioned the kayak around Ireland. Well, believe it or not, the guy one of the 2 guys, it was the 2 guys who kayak around Ireland, he actually contacted me. He said, hey, I see the show you're doing. Wonder if it'd be cool. I'd like to come on and share some things. I think I have some good things to share. And I'm like, I didn't catch his name. I was like, yeah, maybe, because I have a few people who ask that. And, I always try to keep, some decent people on here. And so I asked him, all right, well, could you tell me a little bit about yourself? So he emails me back, and he's like, well, I'm this guy. I did this documentary, Kayak Around Ireland. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I love that documentary. It's totally legit. I suggested it to everyone. So that's who we may have coming up soon. So just a little inside information there. So that will be very much fun because he is super experienced and super, super hardcore. Like he told me, like he had a list of all the stuff he's done. It is freaking ridiculous. So he's a hardcore, real deal kayaker. All right, so we're going to go into the shout-outs and favorite comments. So the first shout-out is going to go to Steve at Adventure Outdoors. Now, you guys saw one of my recent videos, Packing When Yakking. Well, Steve made a response video to this. That is totally hilarious, and I loved it. He's like, he made it. He said, Trip, I've got this video. I'm about to publish it. I want you to check it out. It's in response to your video. And I watched it, and I was laughing the whole 5 minutes and 37 seconds. So you guys need to check it out. It's the Boomstick Smoke Wagon. He talks about how to carry a gun on a kayak. It's this new product he's coming up with. So you guys definitely need to go check that out. There's a link to that below. I'm telling you, it's entertaining. If it wasn't good, I wouldn't be suggesting it to you guys. So y'all need to go check that out for real. It's a lot of fun. And Steve, he's a little crazy in a good way. So go and check him out. I mean, it's fun, I'm telling you. I was literally laughing the whole time I was watching it. So, oh, hey, look, Adventure Outdoor down there. He said in a comment, that dude's handsome. Coincidence? I think not. What's up, Steve? Hey, man, glad you dropped in. Oh, Firelight said that was a good documentary to watch. He's talking about the Around Ireland. Yes, it's a really good, very well done documentary on some dudes doing a hardcore trip. So be sure to check that out. Tony said, I watched that video. It's amazing. Lynn said there were 2 guys that kayaked around the Gulf of Mexico. Not sure if they completed the trip. That would be a pretty cool trip there. All right, so a few of my favorite comments. Let's see here. Today, Christian Beauchamp commented. He said, love your videos, brother. Keeps me positive in our cold winter days here in Canada. Hey, Christian, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. And I feel bad for you that you live way up in there in Canada where it's freezing cold and it's nice. And it was like 75 or I don't know, 70 or something today down here in South Alabama. And it was fantastic. And I'm ready to get back on the water. So thanks for watching. James Hurt, what's up, buddy? Hey, man, good to see you. I'm glad everyone is here watching. CJ Leon said, Matt reminds me of Steve Roger from Into the Blue fishing show. I don't know Steve Roger, but I'm going to Google him and see if that looks like Matt Rhodes. Look, Robert F., he asked a pretty good question right there. Robert, I am going to save your question for later for the Q&A. That is a good one. Thank you for asking. Thanks very much. All right, another good comment. Lynn Baldry, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Lynn. Lynn said, how much water do you bring on your trips? And actually, that's something I'm going to cover. She made that comment on my recent video of planning food for a multi-day kayaking trip. And I actually filmed the water in that, but I've deleted it because I wasn't really happy with it. So I'm going to make a separate video real soon that talks about how much water you need to bring on your kayaking trip. But typically, if you bring a gallon per person per day, you're going to have enough. That's a good place to start. Firelight said 77 today in the middle of Georgia. That's awesome. Hello, my fellow Canadian Christian. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so I'm sorry. It's a little tricky reading the chat because I want to keep up with you guys and interact with you guys in the chat because that's what doing it live is all about, right? But I kind of get lost and lose my focus whenever I try to do it. But it's worth it. I hope you guys don't mind. All right, so Charles Ellis, he left a comment 2 days ago, and Charles is a guy who's been commenting on my videos for a while. I remember his name and his photo because he's wearing like a leather jacket like a biker guy. So I've always remembered him from a long time ago. And so he commented, he said, Trip, what is your opinion of small sailboats and camping on board versus a kayak and a hammock? Well, I've kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but it's simplicity. I've found that whenever I had my 17-foot sailboat, and I even had a 29-foot sailboat at one time, I found that I didn't use it as often as I envisioned I would. And, because my vision was to get out there and to enjoy and do some, real epic stuff. And, but whenever I had those sophisticated things, I didn't go out that much. So I had the 29-footer first. That was like my third sailboat because I started out with small trailerables. But then I got the 29-footer thinking, okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to the Bahamas. I'm going to go to the Keys. Well, I got it. And, man, it was just so sophisticated and so many moving parts and stuff. I was like, man, this is a lot. And I used it and I stayed on it a lot, but I didn't use it like I wanted to. So I said, okay, I need to downsize, get something simpler. So I got the 17-foot sailboat, took it to the Florida Keys, did a few trips on it, loved it, but I still wasn't using it as much as I wanted. Why? I think because, it was a hassle to go set up just for a day sail or for 2 nights. You had to haul that big thing behind the truck and find somewhere to land or to launch it, stand the mast up, do all this fancy stuff to get out there. And I was like, okay, how can I simplify it more? So I was like, okay, a kayak. And boom, here I am on a kayak going out, hanging in a hammock. Yeah, it's simple. It's easy. So I can get out there and do it more often. And also, it's more available and more easily accessible. And not that, but what am I trying to say? It's something that more people can go out and do. There aren't a lot of people or as many people who could just get a 17-foot sailboat and go out and get out there. But a lot of people can go get a kayak off Craigslist, something cheap, get some camping gear from anywhere and get out there and experience it. So, all that has kind of played a role into me getting into a kayak. So that's why I like a kayak and hammock better for certain reasons. Granted, it would be fantastic if I had millions of dollars and I had a 40-foot catamaran sailboat that I could go and stay on and have a captain and all kind of good stuff and not have to worry about it. But I'm not made of money, so but it would be nice. It would be nice. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. BJ Thomas, you're doing awesome trip. Thank you, BJ. Let's see here. How surf launching loaded up with gear on a stand-up paddleboard. CJ, we'll save that one for a little later because that will be a good one for Matt to help me answer. Richard Edwards said, loved your post. Can't wait for my Get Out There sticker. Awesome, Richard. And wow, at River Kings, that's insane. Trip Weaver said, hey, Trip, I love your videos more. I love your videos, man. They're very entertaining. You're very welcome. I'm so glad you enjoy the videos. Trent, that's so, I enjoy hearing that. I do. That's pretty cool. Okay, great. We're finally to this segment, the We've Got Mail segment. We're going to save the box. We're going to go to these because these are kind of entertaining. Well, first, we're going to start with a small little handwritten note. This is, he said, it's from Aaron. He said, "Hey, Trip, thanks for the stickers, bro. Really enjoying the yak ventures you go on. Like others, it has inspired me to get out there. If I could somehow figure out how to combine it with golf, then I'd really have something." And then he gave me a few show ideas. He said, how to troll and catch fish from a kayak, and do I need to contact property owners when I spend the night on the riverbank? Aaron, thanks a bunch from Indiana. Is that Aaron? No, that's a different Aaron that sent this. So about contacting property owners, do you need to? Yes, you do. Do I? No, I don't. 99% of the time. But that's a video that I'm going to film very, very soon. I was going to do it this week, but it'll probably be next week. I'm going to talk to you all about camping on unknown lands and private property and stuff that do not do. You're not supposed to do it, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? All right, so that's a pretty cool piece of mail. All right, so here's something interesting. I got 7, I don't know how many it was, but it was like 6 or 7 envelopes that were from the same place, from the same address, but we're going back out to different addresses. So I think it's this group who I guess the president of the group or someone, sent out envelopes and then sent get out there stickers to everyone in the group. And the name of the group is Friends United Canoeing, Kayaking, Enjoying Rivers and Streams. Why is that funny? Think about it. So there you go. But don't comment. All right. So there you go. That was entertaining. I thought I would share that with you guys. Very funny, guys. All right. Now let's open this bad boy. Actually, let's see what's going on here. You will get to places in a yak you can't with other boats. That's absolutely correct. I love that because you can go anywhere in a kayak, right? All right. Local garage sale Facebook pages are great for buying used kayaks too. Got mine from there. Yeah. There was one locally here recently. That was a really good deal, but it wasn't perfect kayak. So, but yes, that would be a great spot. All right, so this is gonna be so much fun. All right, this is gonna be so much fun to open this bunch of medical supplies from Aaron Healy of ggcsoutheast.com. So, I mentioned a while back that I was going to be doing something in regards to a video series on putting together a medical kit and, what all you need to think about when you put together your first aid kit and things like that. How does this open? And he reached out and he said, "Hey, Trip, I do this such and such and such. I have, some extra stuff laying around that I'd love to send you if you can think of some stuff you need." And I said, "Well, yeah, of course I can think of stuff I need. So let's see what all he sent." Oh, yes, Matt Rhodes, he's talking about a kayak compared. Oh, sweet. Oh, sweet. He's talking about a kayak compared to a boat. Less maintenance? Absolutely less maintenance. All right, what's in here? Oh, this is what I spotted first. Woo! An MRE. Boom. Who doesn't love these bad boys? Chili and macaroni. Oh, yes. Warfighter recommended, warfighter tested, warfighter approved. That's the real deal right there, folks. Thanks, Aaron. I didn't expect that. All right, here we go. We got a 10 milliliter syringe, which is good for like flushing a wound or something. What else we got in here? What is this? What? A casualty blanket? Is this a joke? No, maybe not. It's a casualty blanket. It's waterproof, aluminized plastic, OD and silver. So I guess this is going to be like a survival blanket or something. That's pretty awesome. It's not just some rude joke. It's a mean joke. So very cool. Very cool. What else is it? Oh, yes. Definitely needed some of these. These are Sam splints, which are like some moldable. Let's see. They're like malleable, bendable splints that you can use to splint like a wrist or an arm or something. You can bend it, around your arm and your wrist and stuff if you break something, and tape it up and you'll be good to go. So this is definitely one of the things that I was going to have in the list. Here we go. A tourniquet Very important to have, especially if you're by yourself, and also one that you can apply to yourself with one arm. Because if I arm there and it's bleeding, I got a bone sticking out and I'm bleeding, and I'm about to bleed to death, I need to be able to put this tourniquet on with one arm. So that's very important. Very good, Aaron. And here we have just some sterile 4x4 sponges or bandages, whatever you want to call them, just some gauze. Very handy. Here we've got some ACE bandages. Sweet. Got to have that because you could take the ACE bandage, and once you get your SAM splint on, you can wrap it with an ACE bandage if you didn't have tape or something like that. Let's see here. Some more antimicrobial gauze sponges. Awesome. This is like Christmas. Oh, and look at this. Instructions. Boom. And the first thing is, hope you never have to use any of this, but in case you do. Dude, Aaron, thanks a lot, man. I'll have to read that. I would read it to y'all, but that's a little long. All right. It's like Christmas on Saturday such. Yes, CJ Leon, it is. Oh, I got MREs for you for days. 5 days worth coming soon. Great. And Ghost Freight said, got a kayak camping trip coming up soon. And I've got an idea on how to pack my 12-foot sit on top experience. I've got a good idea. Yeah, right here, we'll save that. We'll save that. That'd be a good question for later, Ghost, about packing gear in a sit on top, a 12-footer. All right, let's see here. Man, hey, everybody, let's give Aaron some love in the chat. How about that? Let's thank Aaron because he may be watching. All right, here we got some, now I've lost my thought, some ACE bandages, you know, just to wrap around you. These look like the really good ones. Awesome. Okay, here we go. We have just, this is a military, just like a sling bandage you can use to sling an arm or an eye or something. Very good to have. We got 2 of those. Here are some small Ziploc bags that would be good for putting, I don't know, something in. What is this right here? It's a vacuum sealed bandage. Is this what I think it is? The emergency bandage trauma wound dressing. Okay, it's a 6-inch hemorrhage control. Yes, this is very, very good. Very, very good. It's like a really tight bandage you can put if you're bleeding. Fabulous. Oh, wow, 2 of those. Man, this is awesome. I'm running out of room on my table. Here we go. H&H compressed gauze. Very good. Very good. Here's some bacitrician ointment. Cool. Aha. Some trauma shears. You got to have those. If y'all don't have a pair of these are just really good not to have just medically. They're just very good hardcore scissors. You can get them for not too expensive. Lagging vid. Oh, I hope it's not vidding or lagging too bad. Let's see here. Trip man, maybe you should. Wait. Okay, he said something about the address. You're right. I should. I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about that. Anyways, Talpusa Angler said, as an ER nurse, I have to say, way to be prepared, Aaron. Absolutely. Here's an iPad, not like an iPad, but an iPad. Here's a stretch bandage. Man, this is cool. Another antimicrobial sponge. What is this? Moleskin. Oh, just a pack of moleskin. That's very, very handy, especially if you're hiking. Man, that's ridiculously handy. Another 10 milliliter syringe. And see, you can take the syringe, and they have some real good liquid that'll cleanse out a wound and kind of kill a lot of bacteria. You can suck it up in the syringe, and if you get like a deep wound or something that's got dirt and debris in it, you can flush it out with a syringe. That's pretty important. So help you not get infection. Some good chapstick. And here's an emergency blanket, space blanket. Always good to have. And you know what? I don't have any of those. So, they said 2. Cool. You know what? 2 of these things might mean we need to give some of this stuff away. What do y'all think? Yeah? All right. A steri strip. What is this? What is this? Steri strip. I don't know. It's a steri strip. I'll have to figure out what that is a little bit. And then some alcohol preps. There's little alcohol moist towelettes just to clean yourself if you're going to inject yourself or if you have a cut, clean around it. And here looks like some of that tape. What is this? What is this? Coban. So it's like the real sticky tape you would like. I don't know. It looks like I don't know. I'll just see what that is. Thanks, Aaron. And here's a stretch bandage and some medical tape. Wow. Was that not a lot of stuff, or was that not a lot of stuff? Oversized FAK. Yeah, William said, man, that box is loaded up. Absolutely, it is. And then Matt said, Trip, that box is like a clown car. Stuff just keeps coming out. Absolutely. Hole in the bottom. Yep, that's very cool. Oh, and there's Aaron of all trades, which is Aaron Healy. He said, I've been a firefighter for 10 years, an Army medic for 5, and worked in the ER for 4. Tend to be over-prepared sometimes. Haha. Hey, everybody, seriously, give Aaron some love. I really appreciate you doing that, Aaron, sending that to me. Now my table is a mess, but you guys can't see it. But, wow, I've just got a lot of awesome goodies here. Aaron, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, man. God bless you, buddy. All right. Woo! That is so cool. What's up, John Young? You made it. He's late, but he made it. At least you made it, man. That's what counts. Yep. All right. So go check out Aaron Healy he's of course Aaron of all trades on YouTube and ggcsoutheast.com. There's a link below where you can go check him out. He's got really a pretty professional website. I'm jealous. All right. All right. Everybody's giving Aaron some love in the chat. Thank y'all very much because Aaron deserves it. I need to put that there. All right. So, all right. What am I researching? Well, let's see. This past week, I don't want to say I've been spinning my wheels researching, but I've been researching ICAST. And what ICAST is it's a big trade show with like fishing. Yeah, I think it's like the biggest trade show in sport fishing in the nation or maybe in the world. And they have like a lot of kayak vendors and fishing vendors and all kinds of stuff there. It's down in Orlando, Florida. It's July 11th through the 14th. And I have a ticket. Wow. Which the director of the Peace River trip, he hooked me up with a ticket through his company and stuff. So I saved like $150 or something there. So I'm going to be going to ICAST in 2017 and doing some filming there and just meeting all kind of YouTubers and just making a lot of good connections and seeing all the new things that are going to be rolling out for 2018, all the new kayak designs, all the real cool fishing stuff, like the word I want to get into. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm basically going to be the guy in there who knows the least about what's going on. And it's just going to be great to go in there and act like a fool. And, well, not act like a fool, but go in there and have a good time with everyone in there. So I can't wait. Robert F. said put super glue in the medical kit. Absolutely super glue in the medical kit. If you guys go back like a long time back on my videos, when I used to make woodworking videos, probably back in, I don't even know, 2013 or something, I actually have a video on super glue to use it in your cuts and stuff because I've always used it and it works. Fantastic. Fantastic. Aaron is still getting love in the chat. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Yes, super glue does work great, Aaron said. Just didn't have it to give. And then Swamp Fox said the firefighter brotherhood is alive and well. Love it. Absolutely. I love it too. Hey, it's pretty darn cool. It's pretty cool. And, you know, not only the firefighter brotherhood, but, you know, I think maybe the sailing and such brotherhood or the community we kind of have here because, you know, I love how everyone's talking in the chat and kind of, you know, helping each other out and stuff. That just means so much, and I really appreciate all of y'all for doing that. So thank y'all. And let's see here. Yak Fishing on a Budget said, ICAST is a good place to get sponsorship too. Yes, I imagine it is, you know, because to go in there and actually meet these companies and meet these people and get them, let them, you know, let me talk to them and let them get to know me a little bit. And that might help some, but, you know, of course, you know, you have to be careful when you're looking for sponsorships because, you know, you don't want to come across as a sellout or don't want to look like, yeah, I don't want to come across as a sellout. And that's a fine line that I'm really kind of struggling with, you know, in my own mind on how it's going to look to you guys, you know, but unfortunately, you know, that kind of is one of the things that sort of has to happen to make sailing and such grow more, you know, because, you know, I don't want to say it, but, you know, kind of finances are kind of holding things back where, you know, if I had such and such, I could go do such and such. So, you know, sponsorship may be something that I would like to look into in the future, but I want to get a good sponsor of stuff that I actually like and actually use and not just some off-the-wall sponsor that isn't relevant to you guys and isn't valuable to you guys because I don't want to look just like an infomercial. Absolutely not. That's not what it's about. I'm me, you know, I'm real. I don't try to be someone I'm not or whatever. You guys know that. I act like a total fool. So anyways, that's just something that kind of worries me a little bit in the back of my mind. So CJ Leon said, let sponsors come to you. Yes, that is right. And here we go. Those tight compression wraps are the Israeli bandages. Yes, Israeli bandages. The large casualty blanket is a big survival blanket / tarp / shelter thing. Awesome. Yeah, the Israeli bandage. Yes, I have that in my on that list, Aaron. Thanks so much. Yeah, these are killer, the Israeli bandages. There'll be more on that in the medical kit series that I'm going to be doing here in a little while. Now that I've got this basically set, right? Man, Aaron, you're killer awesome. Matt Rhodes said Ozark Trail sponsor will be sweet. Ozark Trail, is that the food? What's Ozark Trail? Or is that I don't even know. See, I'm not a gear guru. I'm just a get out there guru. I just want to get out there. Yeah, what is Ozark Trail, Matt? All right. Join us on a day trip to the Kennesaw Delta Saturday, 15 of us. This Saturday, I'm working this Saturday, BHAM Lunker. I appreciate it, man. I do. You know, I get invited to a decent amount of adventures, and I truly appreciate it, each and every one of them. But it's hard for me to make them because, like, some people think that, trip, man, it's awesome. He gets to go do all these trips and stuff. Well, I think it looks like I do more trips than I do. Because I don't really get to get out there very much. But so whenever I do get the time, I have to make it, 100% worth it and be sure I'm filming and doing all the good stuff for you guys. So, anyways. Oh, Matt Rhodes said it's a Walmart brand gear. Oh, yeah, Ozark Trail. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I think I have a couple. Yeah, of course I have a couple Ozark Trail things. Because I bought all my gear from Walmart. That's back in the first adventure, few adventure videos. It was a mess. Okay. All right, yeah, so researching ICAST. Hoping to go to ICAST. Things I've been researching. Man, I went off on a tangent there. I was researching hotels and where to stay, and hotels are kind of expensive. So I may be camping in the back of my truck in a camper shell or something crazy like that, because I may just go down there for one night. So that's what I've been researching. Actually, I'm researching parking lots and campgrounds and parks where I could just park my truck for the night and not get arrested or whatever or my truck towed. So that's what I've been researching. But man, it would be nice to stay in a hotel down there and some air conditioning and a place to charge my phone and stuff like that. But whatever. It'd make a good video if I was the idiot down there going to ICAST and camping in his truck, right? No one else would be that hardcore. Whew. Mobile, Kennesaw, next time. Absolutely next time. Yep. Watch out for the game warden down there. He's my friend. If y'all run into Thad, the game warden, tell him Tripp said to arrest you. Just kidding. Parking lot party. Yeah, I actually did think about parking or camping in the parking lot of ICAST, but I don't know if that would work because I don't know how that would work. It's a big, huge place. Video idea, surviving on Walmart gear. That actually kind of is one of my little ideas, not surviving on Walmart gear technically, but, like getting out there on a budget. I want to have I don't know what the budget would be, a $500 or something that I would use to buy a kayak off Craigslist and buy a sleeping bag and buy a tarp and buy everything I needed to go out for a trip just on an extreme budget and show just how little it takes to get out there and enjoy. I think that would be a really, really good series and fun. Walmart lets you park overnight. It does, but in most places, but I think in some of Florida, I think they have rules against that. I think. But I'm going to have to park somewhere. But thanks, $100 budget, CJ Leon said. I don't know if that would work, buddy. Then I'd probably be naked and afraid on $100. I couldn't even buy clothes. All right. That would be interesting, sailing in such a video. Here, Lester Packard said, I sleep in the back of my Subaru Outback all the time. It saves money and leaves more money to travel and do stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, I would like to sleep in a hotel, but I don't have the money to spend on it. So that's the way it goes. Dimes on his eye says, yeah, the Walmart near me has had cars parked so long there, it's grass growing out of the wheels. That's funny. And BM Lunker said, lots of Florida tourist-type spots post. Overnight parking need, indeed. Okay, no overnight. Right, gotcha. All right, so what to watch? Yes, this is very good. I'm telling you guys, this is good. This is also in the YouTube description below. You guys need to watch the solo sailing expedition from Norway to Stockholm. All right, what it is, this guy, he's on this inflatable catamaran sailboat, and it's like freezing cold. He's in a dry suit the whole time, and he does this expedition. He goes 1,550 miles, a little more than that. Yeah, let me say that again. 1,550 miles on this little sailboat solo. And I'm not talking about he's just like going around the coast and stuff. Like he actually like goes down this river. There's like rapids and stuff. And he has like a cool portage and stuff. So you guys really need to check this out. It was made like in 2012 or 2013. And I found it right after we posted it somehow. This when I was back just searching all of the crazy stuff that I would search to try to find every YouTube interesting video on sailing or kayaking back then. And I found this, and it's an absolute gem. It's fantastic to watch, so you guys need to go check it out. Please, it's great, okay? Here we go. Yeah, see, Chris Beck said, you probably have enough fans. You should be able to stay overnight anywhere. Maybe so. Maybe so. That might be a little sketchy. I don't know. All right, Ray Canald said, have you ever considered making a kayak or stand-up paddleboard from a kit? Yes, I have, Ray, and I'm going to save your question for later, Ray, because I think it's a good one. I think it is a good one. Oh, come on. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, give me a second. Microsoft Word is jacking up. All right, let's see. Truck stops. Let's see here. Truck stops and a lot of gas stations are actually great spots to sleep. Yeah, I thought about a truck stop because I can actually go in there and get a shower and be clean the next day when I go back to ICAF and not just look like a homeless guy. Matt Rhodes said I have an extra room. Come on. Appreciate it, Matt. But you're not quite close enough. I'll still have about, I don't know, a 5-hour commute from your house. I might say 15 minutes, if that. William Ziegler said, what's the name of that video? The name is Solo Sailing Expedition from Norway to Stockholm, and there is a link to it in the YouTube description that's going to be below this video. So check it out. Roger said, you've got your priorities straight. Sleep in the truck and save the money for an adventure. Haha. Exactly. Exactly. Any tips on sit on top camping? Hard to find many packing tips. You know, I think we have a question about that coming up, but you know what? We're going to save it. Ghost Freight, we're going to save your question for the Q&A. I think it's a great one. And check out Boondocking, Florida. I think I've seen that. That's like camping in random places or something. Here we go. JP Adventure said you should check out Little Tybee Island, Georgia, Kayak Association's end of March. Here we go. Lester Packer said, split a room with 30 miles out in Zoffinger. That would be pretty cool. And Matt said Matt will be at ICAST as well. And dry bags are a must for sit on tops. Absolutely. All right. And Matt gets hotel discounts. Cool. Wait, did Matt say I could stay with? Oh, he said he has extra room. Oh, down there. That's right, because Matt's going. Boom. Score. All right, Matt, I might take you up on that. Why didn't I realize that? I missed it. Here we go. It'll be warm in your truck in July. That is true, Randy. But I think I found a spot where I could park, like kind of at a little park or somewhere that's close to woods, where I could kind of sneak off into the woods in my hammock and sleep in the hammock. But I still wouldn't have anywhere to charge my camera and do all that good stuff and like continental breakfast and take a shower. I'd have to go jump in a public swimming pool somewhere or something. But I kind of had it all figured out, but I may not have to do that. It's kind of last resort, but it would be fun. It'd be, you know, think about the vlog of that. All right, so planning trips. What kind of trips am I talking about in the future? Well, unfortunately, I was supposed to go this past Tuesday and fish with 30 Miles Out, Ty and Teresa, but that got canceled because of the weather. It was pretty bad weather then, so we just had to cancel it, and so we're going to reschedule that later on down the road, but that's okay because I've got 3 adventures coming up very, very soon. The next one is next week, actually. I think like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be going up to Central Georgia where there's a big rock somewhere and doing some stealth camping in a place I can't really mention. So I'll be going up there, and then I'll be, what's after that? After that, the 9th and 10th, of March is going to be the subscriber trip, the Get Out There 17.1 trip down the Chattahoochee River, single overnighter with about 15 up to 20 of my subscribers are all coming. Some people are coming from Tennessee, Texas, Chicago, all the way to Southeast Alabama. So that's going to be so much fun. And then, of course, we have the big, huge Peace River trip. That's going to be start March 20th. It's going to be for like 4 or 5 days with the 2 Wounded Warriors and the 2 Purple Heart recipients. It's going to be so much fun as an assistant guide. It's just going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. All right, in the van down by the river, Dimes on his eyes says, yes. Oh, here we go. Behem Walker said, boondocking is an RV term, I think. Those with RVs staying at places that tend to be free or very low cost. Usually no electricity, good for such costly conditions. Sweet, absolutely. The Chattahoochee has some big fish. Yes, you know, I actually heard like a couple weeks ago someone caught, was it a 60 or 80 pound catfish in the Chattahoochee? Pretty big catfish. Pretty big catfish. Any plans for a trip to Oklahoma? No, unfortunately. I don't have any trips planned for anywhere too far away right now because I still have a lot of good places that I still want to do trips to around here. And of course, you know, when you go further, you need more time, you need more finances to do that. And I'm not there yet, but I'm hustling. I'm working on it. And I'd love to go to Oklahoma. I've been there, Tulsa, a few times for horse shows back when I was younger. Ken's Home Cocktail said, can you suggest a fat boy friendly kayak? How about the Old Town Predator XL? Or if you want the Mac Daddy, that's going to be the new Native Titan. Thing is huge. It's like a boat almost, but it's also priced almost like a boat. But check it out if y'all haven't seen it. All right. Oh, look, it's time for the gear giveaway. Wow. So, like I told you guys, this thing that I dropped down here, I'm going to be giving away, or actually we're about to give away some of these. These are the Fossils. It's the little collapsible cup, bowl, plate, man, that I got the other day. And actually, this giveaway, fortunately, is being provided by one of you guys. See, one of you, Jason White, was kind enough, like I just randomly got this email where someone sent me a $25 Amazon gift card. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And it was Jason White, and he said, thanks for all the entertainment and inspiration. That's all he said, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, hey, you guys, let's give Jason White some love in the chat because it's because of him that we're doing this. Because as soon as he sent it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, what am I going to do with this $25? And I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to get on Amazon and look for something. So I had these in my wish list, and I was like, you know, these are like $14 or $15. I was like, you know what? I could buy 2 of these and give one away. So that is what we're going to do. So we're kind of paying it forward. So thanks a lot, Jason. You're providing this for everyone out there. So Jason White, you're an awesome subscriber. I really appreciate that. So, oh, there he is. White Jason E. Sweet. Yeah, see, I told you I was going to do this, Jason. Cool, man. I'm glad, so glad you're watching. So there's Jason. Everybody give Jason some serious love because he's here watching. Yep. So, man, that's awesome. That just touched my heart. That's pretty cool. All right, so the contest, you know, I've tried to think of a good way to run a contest live within the chat, and I couldn't really think of many good ideas except like a trivia question that I actually learned from watching Matt Rhodes fishing some of his live streams where he actually gives away some Cast King stuff, like, I mean, some serious stuff, not some rinky-dink little plastic foldable plates and stuff. He gives away like fishing reels and fishing rods. I mean, some serious hardcore stuff. So I learned this from Matt. He kind of asked some trivia questions. So I got a trivia question for you guys. So the way it's going to work, I'm going to ask you a trivia question about a Sailing and Such video that hopefully people aren't going to have to go back and like rewatch my videos or something because that's going to be pretty tough to get this. But I think people will know this. I hope they do. Anyways, but so the first person to answer this question within the chat that I see, wow, look at all the love Jason's getting. Look at all the love. That's awesome. Hope you're feeling the love tonight. Can you feel the love tonight? Isn't that a song, Jason? I hope you can feel it. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm going to ask the question. The first person to answer it in the chat is going to win this. If you win it, shoot me an email to sailyandsuch@gmail.com and hook me up with your address, and I'll hook you up with some of these awesome plates, bowls, and cups. Or actually, a plate, a bowl, and a cup. All right, so the special question, Alex said, sing it. You know, I don't know it that well, but don't worry. I've been practicing my little ukulele, so we're gonna have some more of this. I really love this thing in the next few adventures. Oh, I've got some good tunes picked out since YouTube kind of flags my stuff if I play the music on there. And you guys know how much. If y'all saw what video was that? Boom, boom, boom. The Cape Sandblast video where I was dancing and acting a total fool. That was so much fun. And also, I think the Orange Beach video where I was jamming in the truck on the way down. Yeah, I love music. Anyways, I used to, yeah, that's a little different story. I used to have a different life before sailing and such. All right, so anyways, the question, first person to answer it gets this. So, you guys remember, I had 2 touring kayaks at one time. Right now I have the Wilderness Systems Solution 2, but I used to have a yellow kayak that I sold. What kind of kayak was it? All right, I want the brand and the name. What kind of kayak was it? You can answer that in the chat. You're going to get it. William said the Lion King soundtrack. So what is it? I hope someone knows. I really do. Where can you find the information? Whoop! Someone's getting close. Someone. Now yeah. Wow, that is hard. You're right. It is hard, Chris. But you know what? This is going to go to someone who's watched my videos. So a plastic one. All right. So yeah. All right. So I want the brand, and I also want which one was it? Boom! B-Helm Lunker. Oh wow! All right, so we've got 2 people. It's kind of a tie, but it's the Perception Sea Lion Shadow. So I think we're gonna go with B-Helm Lunker, Perception Shadow. So congrats to B-Helm Lunker, and also Swamp Fox said it right after that. He said the Perception Sea Lion, which is I think the same thing. Honestly, it's like the Perception Sea Lion Shadow or Shadow Sea Lion, whatever that means. But either of those will work. So awesome. B-Helm Lunker. Yep, I think we've chatted before, but hey, man, send me your, send me an email, and I'll get you some of these on the way to you ASAP. All right, Chris said I watched it. Your buddy used it, the one who could catch fish. Yes, Chris, that one in the Panama City video. Yeah, my buddy used it. All right, yes, yep, you were so close, Swamp Fox, but don't worry. I think I would like to continue doing this because that was pretty fun. But I kind of need some ideas on more ways to do a contest live where people can answer through the chat, because I mean that was cool and all, but it'd be fun if there was like a more fun way to do it. And I haven't really thought about it, but I only researched it like today to try to figure it out. So if y'all have some ideas, let me know, because I would really love to do some fun giveaways on here. Oh, he's never won anything. Well, congratulations, you won something now, man. So congratulations. All right, well, those are all the segments I have, so it's time for the Q&A. We have some questions lined up here, and so we're going to bring Matt back, or Matt can bring himself back. Come on back, Matt, because there's some questions in here that I don't think I can answer alone, that I'm going to need your stellar expertise and professionalism to help answer.
I don't know about professionalism, but I'll try.
Yeah, well, you know what? Standing beside me, you have plenty of professionalism, so I make you look good. All right. Someone said a painting. CJ Leon said a painting question or guess the number. Ghost Freight. I thought about guess the number. If I said guess the number between 1 and 20, someone could go 1 enter, 2 enter, 3 enter, 4 enter, 5 enter, and it'd kind of be, it'd just be total chaos. And I like some. You'd have to work for it a little bit, or just to like B-Helm Lunker and who else knew it? What was it? Swamp Fox. Knowing those answers. That means, I consider them pretty hardcore Sailing and Such fans, because they remember that kayak I had way back when, about a year ago or whatever. They remember that, and, that kind of means a lot. Or either they were just watching those videos recently, which is awesome. So they're kind of hardcore fans. So, I'm giving something free to a hardcore fan, which is deserving, right? All right. Better than just guessing numbers. Okay. All right, so we're going to do some Q&A now. So if you guys have some questions, go ahead And here's a good one, Trent Weaver. We'll go ahead and answer that one first. Yeah, but go ahead and ask your questions in the chat, and I'll be saving them over here, and we'll answer them in the order they come out. But here we go. All right, Matt, you're probably a better answer than me than this, but Trent Weaver said, how many fish have you catched in one, or have you caught in one video? I think the most I've caught in a video, I think it's one.
I've caught so many in a video one time. I had to cut a whole bunch out to make it like 15 minutes long.
See, I haven't had that problem yet. Yeah, I think it's no, 2. It's 2. Wait, yeah, it is 2.
The mullet.
No, it's the bass that I caught in my last adventure on the Lake Eufaula. I caught 2. Boom! I'm not a nobody.
Lake Eufaula is a good place to fish. Maybe we'll have to go there together.
Yeah,
Get
man.
some big 10-pounder bass out of that one.
Oh, really? Well, sweet. Maybe you can show me how to do that. Yeah. Good. The guest contrast with numbers is killing me. Jim Lumber said, yeah, it kind of makes me look like a nobody. But it's good. I'm getting people better than me in this stream and as guests. Isn't that what we want? I want people who are better than me to help you guys, see? So great. Oh, there's a good question, Lynn. We're saving that one. All right, so the next question is coming from Dwayne. He said, kayak first and camping second, or vice versa. What should you do? I say do them both at the same time. But no, technically, yeah, you should probably go kayaking and just have a general understanding of kayaking. But really and truly, if you think about it, a kayak camping trip, like if you can kayak or whatever, even if you can't kayak, you're gonna go learn to kayak, and then you're just think of it as you're kayaking for a day and you're camping for a night. And you're kayaking for another day. So it's not really a big expedition or anything. You can think of it as just mini trips. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I think everybody knows how to kayak. I would start off camping first so you get the hang of it and you know what to carry, what you need, what you don't need, and stuff that'll fit in the kayak, and then go kayak camping. So definitely do camping first, I would say.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Talpus Angler said, is there any type of special out-of-state license needed to net crabs in the Florida Panhandle? I think just regular fishing license. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it should be regular fishing license. Yeah. To around here, crab, like blue crab, is bait. It's pretty much just bait.
And that's pretty much all that Trip catches and eats when he goes, so I eat the bait. But I love eating the blue crab, man. They're like gourmet to me, but I guess
you can find some big blue crabs out here. They get big.
Oh yeah, man. And I mean, like in most of my videos, when I'm down on the Gulf, like I'm catching crabs and putting them on the grill, and I mean, I love them to death. But I guess it's because I don't put anything else on the grill, so I don't know any better.
You should camp Grayton Beach one day. They have a little reservation in Western Lake and Eastern Lake. You can fish it, use saltwater and freshwater, so you can catch tons of fish in it and camp.
Wait, yeah, Grayton Beach, Western Lake. I think I have to get there.
You've done that one?
Yeah.
They have a campground. I think Eastern Lake, I don't know if they have a campground, but yeah, Western Lake has a cool campground right there.
Well, one of them, which one's right there closest to the artificial reef, to the turtle reef?
That's Western Lake.
Yeah. Well, that's where I camped. I did a video there, and I camped one night or 2 nights. Can't remember how many nights I camped, but yeah, it wasn't a campground. I was like literally camping over an abandoned boardwalk in the woods because there wasn't really any place to camp. I was like stealth camping. It was pretty awesome and illegal. Anyways, that's kind of what I did. All right, people are saying blue crabs are great. Yes, they are delicious. I love the blue crabs. Yes, Chris Beck said yes, but he didn't say in the campground, Trip slept in someone's backyard. That's right. That's what I do, baby. That's what I'm going to be doing in a week. Oh, it's great fun. It's great fun. All right. So Robert F., he asks, what's the most miles you've covered in one day in your yak? I can't remember what it was, but it was the first day of my Choctawhatchee trip. I want to say like 27 or 30 miles, something like that. It was a long way, but I had pretty good water flow. So, and I was in my touring kayak, so I was trucking along and I was just paddling all day because it was like cold and raining. So all I was doing was paddling. How about you, Matt?
I think on the paddleboard, I've done about 6 to 8 on one of the lakes up in Defuniak. Just going out there doing a scouting mission, and you just paddle around the bank to see where all the fish are and what they're doing. I think I got around 6 to 8 in one day.
That's pretty good distance on a paddleboard.
A lot of it, like I told them, a lot of it's coasting though. Get a couple of paddles in and just cruise and look around.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Trent, I've saved your question for later. And Ghost Freight, he said, keeping it classy from Bama. Same here. Yeah, absolutely keeping it classy with all my stealth camping in people's backyards. All right, let's see here. Next question. CJ Leon said, how is surf launching loaded up with gear on a stand-up paddleboard? That's you, Matt.
What was it? I was looking at another question.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. What is it like launching in surf with a paddleboard with gear loaded on it?
Oh, if it's hard surf, it's hard. You got to make sure everything's strapped down because waves will come. I mean, waves run off the top of it pretty easy and it cuts through, but it's a pain because if you turn sideways, you're gonna roll. It's best to just get a nice north wind and just go out there when it's nice and flat and not worry about any kind of on the surf. That's the best time.
Okay. So what does that mean to me? That means I'm gonna have to try it when it's
I have a video. It was really choppy. It was literally my first time trying to get a paddleboard out of the surf, and I rolled like 4 times. But I didn't have any gear. All I had was one rod, and I just couldn't get past the waves. It was a pain, and it wasn't really a fishing paddleboard either, just a regular one.
And so how'd you have your rod secured?
I didn't. I had to keep going down and getting it.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. It was. I have a short video of the first time it rolled. It was just crazy.
And so why do you only have the short video the first time you rolled, man?
I've never rolled after that. I've never went out there after that when it got that big anymore.
James Hurt said, talking all this seafood makes him want to go down or plan a trip down to Galveston. Galveston, oh, Galveston. Yeah, man. Oh, Red Crow said the Pea River trip is his favorite video. That's awesome, man. I appreciate that, Red Crow. That was one of my favorite trips. I don't know. I really don't. It's hard for me to pick a favorite trip. I love them all.
And Colin had something about Yellow River and Op. Yellow River, I've done the southern end of Yellow River, and it's okay. But there is a lake in Op, Alabama. It has I guess a road it goes over and has 2 sides. That's really good bass fishing there. I can't think of the name of the lake, but that one's really good for camping and bass fishing, I would say.
Sweet. Yeah, haven't ever been there. I've never been to the Yellow River either. But I have been to Op a few times, but that's just for the redneck racing. So they got a asphalt round track that I've been to too many times. South Alabama, baby. That's what it's about. All right, here's a good question. William Ziegler said, any blooper videos you're hanging on to? No, there's not, because all my bloopers, I put them in the videos. So, no, I wish I had something, but I don't. Excuse me, I want to sneeze. How about you, Matt?
I think I've put everything out so far. I am hanging on to a couple, but they're not really fishing or camping related. Like one of them, I got my wife a Valentine's Day gift. It's called Munch Pack, where you get random food from around the world, and we were trying it in the car on the way to Tampa, and we had some pretty funny reactions. I haven't put that out yet. I've just been keeping it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Oh, and speaking of kind of random food, I have an idea. If any y'all ever heard of Bean Boozled? It's the gummy or the jelly bean game.
Oh, it's so nasty. Oh, it's so bad.
It's so nasty where you have like some random jelly beans. Like one tastes like, I don't know, a booger or a vomit, and one is tastes normal. And it's like Russian roulette, and you test it, and you sometimes you get the horrible one. Well, I'm going to do that live for you guys sometime. I have the game ready. I just got to get just the right time to do it. Maybe for like a fundraiser for charity or something. If we raise this much money, I'll eat so many or whatever. So that should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun.
The blue ones are the best because it's either like something good or it's toothpaste, and the toothpaste isn't too bad. So I'm always happy when I get the blue one.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like they have them. They have like some that aren't too bad, and they work up to like the puke. and the booger and all the nasty stuff. And yeah, start low and just keep going and going and going. That would be so much fun. So I think that was my sister's idea, actually. That was a pretty good. Someone, whoa. John Sanders said the skunk jelly bean pretty much gets stuck in your teeth forever. That'd be a good video. And CJ Leon said it should be your punishment meal trip. Yeah, that would be great. All right, let's see here. All right, Chris Beck, I'm going to save your question. That's a pretty good one. And then I'm going to save Alex L's question. And here's a quick one. We'll go ahead and answer Ray Canald's video. Wait, no, Robert's question. He said, what's the worst punishment meal you fed yourself? I think it was the anchovies. They were pretty rough. Yeah, I think, I can't think of all of them. I think it was pretty rough. But soon I'm going to be taking some pickled pig's feet. That's going to be disgusting, but it's going to be a great video. Just pull that pickled pig feet out and just gnaw on those toes or something.
Ray asked me what I pack for meals. Man, I'll just go straight beef jerky. I can survive like 2 days off nothing but beef jerky. I'm good.
Awesome. Oh, here we go. Roger Blabber said, that's a nasty game. 4 teenage boys stunk our camper up for that one. Okay, great. All right, let's see here. Ghost Freight said, got a kayak camping trip coming up soon. I've got a good idea on how to pack my 12-foot sit on top. Any vets have experience? I haven't ever packed a sit on top with camping gear, but my suggestion would be, of course, put everything in dry bags, and try to keep your center of gravity low. Put your heaviest stuff as low as you can. And that's really the best tips I have. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
It's pretty much the same as a paddleboard. It's a flat surface, but yeah, I like to do dry bags, and then like you said, put the bottoms low so then you keep the top on high, and then milk crates. I use tons of milk crates. You can stack them. You can put stuff in milk crates, strap them to each other if you really want to tow a lot. And then even it out. Put stuff up in the front just like you do in the back. So even it out so you're not flooding the back with water and stuff.
John Young said potted meat and crackers for a punishment meal. That's not a punishment meal. All right, here, Colin seconds a question that I have. Whose question? Chris Beck's question. All right, we'll go ahead and get to Chris's question. He said, what's the best way to measure distance on the water? Well, me personally, I measure the distance on the water before I go using Google Earth. I actually have a 3-series playlist or 3-video playlist of planning your kayaking trips where I actually get on Google Earth and I show you guys how I measure out and measure the distances in a river or in a bay or wherever you're going to go. They have a measuring tool. You're on Google, Google Maps and Google Earth. You can just see everything you're going to go, so you can measure everything. But if you're going to do it while you're on the water, probably you're going to have a GPS, either a handheld or your phone. Me personally, I like a handheld because it's waterproof and I don't have to worry about messing my phone up, and also I can save my phone's battery throughout the day instead of having to worry about it dying and having to recharge it. So that's how I do it. How about you, Matt? You ever had much experience with that?
Like you said, always plan it beforehand, because if you see distance where to cross the channel or something, it's shorter in one spot than it is in the other. Like, because I fish a lot of shorelines, so if it's shorter to go across to the other shoreline, I wait when I'm paddling to that shoreline and then cross over. So yeah, it's always better to plan your stuff beforehand, so if anything goes wrong, you're ready for it. But yeah, what I do on my phone, I always take a backup battery pack. Like, you can get the solar panel ones pretty cheap to charge during solar, like outside. Just let it charge itself and then plug it to your phone.
Okay. Aaron Brinkman said I had to kick my buddy out of my ice shack for eating pig's feet. And Firelight said put your phone on airplane mode. The GPS will still work on the newer phones anyway. That's a very good tip, because a lot of times when you're out, if you don't have your phone on airplane mode and you don't have good signal, searching for signal will drain your battery like that. And yeah, carrying the backup battery packs like Matt said is definitely good. I usually carry 2.
And Adventure Outdoors, we can plug him. He had a good video not too long ago. He doesn't measure it while he's on the water or before. He'll measure it afterwards. He has this little GPS thing that tracks everything, and you go back and plug it into your computer, and you can see everything on your computer.
Yeah, that'd be pretty handy. And you can do that with phone stuff, but I haven't tried it yet. It's just
that one you have to worry about batteries and stuff. It just, I mean, plug it. You just let it go. Click the button and just go. And what's cool is if you have your wife back, you can hit a button and it'll send something emergency back to your whatever station, and she'll know that you need help.
Yeah, right. Like John Young asked a quick question. He said, "Do you use a GPS locator in case of trouble?" I have in the past. I had one whenever I went down to the Florida Keys on my 17-footer. I did 7 days sail in the Florida Keys, started in the middle of Florida Keys, a marathon, went to Key West and back. And I had a spot tracker with me then, but I haven't carried it since because I haven't been to any really remote places. But whenever I go back down to the Florida Keys in the kayak and go into the back country, I'll have it with me. But most places where I'm at, I'm not super far from anywhere, so I'm not going to pay for the subscription to keep that spot running because it's kind of expensive.
I got a challenge for you, Trip. Go do a Vienna sausage challenge. Like, go out, get enough Vienna sausage you could survive off of, but use it for fishing too to catch your. If you can't get your food with it, then you just eat it.
Really, hey, that doesn't sound like a challenge to me. That sounds like heaven. So.
Yeah, I used to survive hunting, eating Vienna sausage all the time.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I try to watch what I eat pretty good, but I might pick up a can of Viennas every once in a while. I know they're probably horrible and cancer causing all that good stuff, but they're so good.
They're good bait.
They're good bait. That's right. Yeah, that's what Ty was using the other day in his Ty from 30 miles out in his little. He was trying to catch
his bait fish one.
Bait basket.
Yep.
All right. So Ghost Freight, he asked a question. He said, "Got a kayak camping trip coming up soon." Nope, that's the same one we just asked. Ray Canal said, "Have you ever considered making a kayak or stand-up paddleboard from a kit?" Yes, I've certainly considered it, and I have made a boat before. I made a 7-foot 8-inch sailing dinghy. It was one of my first YouTube videos. Is me making that. It's like a 4 or 5 video series, which is pretty crappy, but you can go back and watch it and see me when I was a lot younger and stuff. But it takes a lot of time to make that stuff, and it takes more money to build it than it does to buy it. And I'd rather spend that time out going on an adventure than doing that. But, I can see myself as I get older and, I slow down a little bit and, I would probably value that more. And I probably will end up making some sort of a, stitch and glue kayak or paddleboard in the future. Have you ever built anything like that, Matt?
Not really. My wife's the creative one. I make stuff better, but I don't build stuff from scratch.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would rather spend my money and time to go out there and experience while I'm still, young and able to do it.
When I was really young, I did find this big sheet of styrofoam one time and used it as like a little boat or vessel to go down the creek. It's pretty fun.
Did it break on you?
No, it didn't. It was fun. Sweet.
All right, let's see here. Lynn asks, what are the best types of clothing? Best types of clothing is best for kayak camping. I would say anything polyester or wool or like merino wool, because you don't want cotton. And I actually have a video on that. It's like I can't remember it, but it's in my gear talk, and you can see I talk about the base layers and you staying warm for cold weather kayaking. I think that might be what it's called, like cold weather camping or cold weather kayak clothing or something. But you definitely stay away from the cottons. Polyester is really where you want to go. And me personally, I like polyester with a little bit of the elastane in it. It's got like stretch to it. And man, it just feels so good on your body. And it still dries fast. So that's what I would suggest. So what do you think, Matt?
I like the same stuff. I agree. But I like the stuff with the SPF 50. So then, like, I wear it even in the sunny days. It breathes good, and it keeps you from getting sunburnt and everything. You have to put sunscreen on. So that's my go-to. That's why you always see me wearing long sleeve in my fishing videos, like dead in the summer.
I got you. All right, here we go. Here's a good one. Chris Beck said, "What cameras do you guys use?" He's asking for a friend. Go ahead, Matt.
All my action cameras, I use Walls cams. They're They're actually amazing. To me, they're just as good as the GoPros, or maybe a little bit better, and they're cheaper. And I just got a new vlogging camera, which is the Canon G7X Mark II, and it's amazing. I love it. It's my new favorite camera. I can't take it with me everywhere. I love it.
I'm jealous of that camera, by the way, everyone.
It's so nice, and it fits in your pocket. It's awesome.
Yeah, but it's pricey. So yeah, Matt and I were actually talking about cameras before the live stream started, and we're talking about that camera, his new G7X, and I'm gonna try to get one used sometime.
I'm using my Walls cam right now, actually, if you guys are curious.
Yeah, and it looks pretty darn good. It looks pretty good. And me, right now, I'm using just a Logitech webcam, and it works pretty good. But I have like two really bright lights right here and here, so it makes things look as best as they can with a webcam. But me, when I go on my adventures, I use the Olympus TG870 primarily. Because it has a flip-up screen where I can see myself, and it records audio while it is waterproof pretty well. But on my last trip, I took my Nikon D3200, my big DSLR, to get some really good footage. And also, it has the capability of putting an external mic on it. So it was really windy on that trip, so I was glad I brought it because I had the external mic with one of the big fuzzy things on it, so I could still film during the 2 days when it was super windy, and the wind noise didn't kill all the audio, which is very important, which I've had issues with in the past. So that's pretty darn important, because when you're out, like I said, when I get out there, I have to be filming because I don't get to get out there as much as I like to. So I've got to make every day count while I'm out there. All right, here we go. Trent Weaver said, what do you prefer cooking on, a fire or gas stove? I mean, probably
fire.
Probably fire. Why, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Well, I like fire. To me, it's a way different flavor it gives to the food you're cooking on it. Like you get that wood, whatever type of wood you're using, you'll get the flavor, and it tastes way better to me than gas. It's a barbecue. It's how it's supposed to taste.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, and me, I mean, it's, probably most of the time fire because I don't have to worry about bringing fuel, and I've always got it there, and I'm, sometimes I'm going to have a fire anyways. But, there are times when I like to cook on my alcohol stove, which I haven't done in a long time, but it's very convenient and very quick, and it's very clean. If I'm just going to boil some water or heat something up, and I just have a little cat can. It's literally a fancy feast can with holes punching it with a hole punch, and it boils water pretty quick. And it's cheap to burn fuel in. Oh, here we got a question. Roger Blaber said, Matt, are you able to anchor or stake your paddleboard for fishing in currents?
I've used different types of anchor just to test. I've used those big river anchors, which I don't recommend. Get the little 3-pound anchors, that fold out and then you can fold back in. Those are perfect. And when I'm in the flats, I'll do like a tomato stick. I go the cheap way at Home Depot, get a tomato stick, and I use that as my stakeout pole, and it works perfectly fine.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I was listening to the chat, but don't some of the stand-up paddleboards, they have holes in them? Did you say that?
Yeah, some do. If you look at other brands, some make so you can just do a stakeout pole right in the middle of the board and hold it. The issue about that, though, is water always moves. So you're going to constantly be moving and vibrating, and it's almost impossible for them to repair that good up inside that hole. So it might cause leaks and be bad in the future. So I'd rather just take it out and just hang from it. And another good thing is if you want to drift slowly, a drift sock is amazing. So you can just drift a lot slower than the current's taking you.
Right. Awesome. All right. Let's see. We're kind of been going for almost 2 hours here. So I'm going to try to wrap it up a little bit. I'm really enjoying this, but I don't want to make them too awfully long. And so let's kind of hit these last few questions kind of quick. Let's see. William said, Trip, do you still use that waterproof Bluetooth speaker? Yes, I do. What kind of speaker is it? It's a, I don't know what it is, but it's in my Amazon store. I can't remember what it is. Sorry, William. Do you use a Bluetooth speaker, waterproof one, Matt?
I think we own like 4 or 5 of them because I don't care for music. I love to listen to the outdoors, but my wife loves music. So I have like
Sweet.
4 or 5 different kinds.
Okay. All right. See, Swamp Fox said, do you like your Iridium stove or alcohol stove better? I haven't used my alcohol stove since I've had the Iridium stove. So I guess the IRIDUIM, but I have been considering taking the alcohol stove to put inside the IRIDUIM stove if I just wanted something really, really quick, and just have the IRIDUIM stove as a good stable platform, because something I always had an issue with when I had just the little alcohol stove was it being on uneven ground and just, me worrying about my pot falling over, and the IRIDUIM stove would just fix that instantly.
I've seen a cool tripod kit you can get, and you can hang a pot and cook food or whatever you want on it over like a flame, and it's really cool. It folds down into like this little bitty thing you can put in your pocket and unfolds.
Huh.
So it's really cool for camping.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I have to check that out. All right, let's see. James Hurt said, have either of you navigated at night in the kayak or stand-up paddleboard for fishing or otherwise? I have not. How about, well, yeah, I kind of have, but we really shouldn't have, and it was really dangerous. And we didn't have any lights. We almost got hit by a boat, and I had to cut that part out of the video. So how about you, Matt?
I've never stayed during the nighttime. I always go like before daytime, and I'll get out there before it's dark to get to my spot. And I found I found them randomly in Target. Like they have the smallest section for outdoor stuff. And it's these clip-on lights, and you click the button and it shines red or just a regular flashlight, and it'll blink red. And I'll put it in the blinking feature, and I'll put it up to where my camera is or net up high, and I'll clip it there, and I'll paddle around for safety. But it works fine.
Sweet, sweet. All right, here, do you use any apps for kayaking?
No.
No, me neither. All right. Okay. Let's see. And I forgot who asked that question. I deleted it out of my Word before I recognized who it was. I'm sorry about that, but at least we got your question, right? All right, let's see. Red Crow Outdoor said, what do you think about the Jackson Kilroy for camping and fishing? You know anything about that kayak?
Those are awesome. I've seen a couple of iCast, and I was able to paddle around one time to try out. And I like the Kilroy. It's a sweet kayak. It's more for fishing and camping, but you can load that thing down. It's pretty sweet.
Sweet. All right. Trent Weaver said, what are your thoughts on a hammock bug net? Me personally, the bug net I have is just a cheap piece of lace that I got from Walmart. And all I do is just drape it over me. Sometimes I'll like double it up. It's probably like 3 foot by 9 feet, I think is what it is. And if I need, and I usually just put it over my upper body because I'm wearing pants and socks, so mosquitoes don't bite through that, because I soak it in permethrin. I got a video on that. You need to definitely soak your hammock and clothes in permethrin, by the way. But I just drape that over me and just go with it, because I don't worry about, hanging a bug net or having fancy zippers and stuff on my hammock, because I have a DIY hammock, to save some money. And the reason I do that is because I find that probably over half the time I don't have to use the bug net, because either the wind's blowing or I just get lucky and there's no mosquitoes. But so for those times when I don't have mosquitoes, I don't have to worry about that bug net keeping the heat in and stuff. So that's what I do. Do you have any experience with that, Matt? I know maybe not.
I think I'm lucky, and I don't go out by myself like you do. And they don't like the Irish blood too much, so they always go to all the people I'm hanging out with, and I don't ever have a problem with mosquitoes. But if I think just wrap yourself up, because most hammocks you can completely wrap yourself up, and
Right.
I would do just curl up in it and take a nap. Not worry about it.
There you go. All right.
Man up.
What?
I said man up.
Man up. Yeah. All right. So the last question I've got here in the queue, Robert Blaber said, Matt, are you able? No, we already asked that one. That was about the paddleboard anchor. Sweet. So that is about it. If anyone has any last-minute questions, ask them now, because we're about to end this. We've been having 2 hours of fun now. Man, that was a good time, Matt. And I appreciate you coming on and just taking the time to do this out of your busy schedule. I know you work a full-time job and stuff. He's like an AC tech, right? Isn't that right, Matt?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. AC tech, part-time YouTuber. So, it really means a lot for him to come on here and help send and such out and give me some, some good input and stuff. So I really appreciate him taking the time to come on here, Matt. Man, thank you so much, buddy.
You're welcome.
So, but yeah, we'll definitely have to get together and do some fishing down there. Oh yeah, and that about ICAST in the room. I thought you said I could stay in Pensacola, but
my wife works in the hotel industry, so we can get discounts in the rooms. So if you need it. we can get it.
Yeah, I may be hitting you up on that. So, all right, yeah. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up, gang. So everyone is saying thanks. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it because this is so much fun to do, and I hope you guys are finding it valuable. And I'm really looking forward to continuing this and to getting more and more people on here who are more influential and just great people to have on here and share with all of us so we can learn. So everyone is just saying thanks. Next week's painting is, I have another.
Don't spoil it. No spoiler alerts. You guys got to tune in next week to see it.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. But here's a close look of this week's painting. It's a little trick that Matt showed me. I can actually zoom with my mouse here. Boom, and zoom in on something. So that's pretty cool. There's a little zoom of the painting. It's really a great painting. That's my little Montgomery 17. My old sailboat that could. So, yeah. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. But, yeah, I do have another painting. It's a little bit smaller, so I have to zoom into it. But it's a pretty good one, too. So, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all go and check out the links below. Check out Matt's channel. And, hey, I just appreciate you being here. I really, really do. And I hope you guys all get out there because that's my goal. My goal is to inspire you guys to get out there and enjoy the outdoors. We only have one life to live, and life is about the experiences. So get out there, whatever it takes. Make it happen. It's your decision. You're the one in control. So get out there and make it happen, folks. But, hey, thanks again, Matt. Appreciate you coming on, man, and taking the time. Like I said, it's been great, and look forward to maybe doing it again in the future with you, buddy.
You're welcome. And my motto I like to do on my show is just get out and fish. That's all I got to say.
Get out and fish. Yeah, I like to get out and try to fish. I don't get out and catch much.
Just get out.
Just get out there. That's right. Oh, yeah. If you want a free Get Out There sticker, still give them away. I've got how many do I have left? Less than 100 left. So you better hurry. I don't know if I'm going to get 500 more or not. That's a question I'm going to be asking you guys here soon. Do we want to continue this, or should we go for a new free sticker campaign? So let me know. If you want your free sticker, go to savvyandsuch.com/free sticker and get your free sticker. Okay, so thanks. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. It's probably going to be next Friday, and that will be after my trip. So I hope I can get a show in. I hope I can. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully, it'll be right after my 3-day trip. So we'll see, and we'll see you guys in the next video and in the next Get Out There show. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and hope to see y'all next time. You guys mean so much to me. Words can't explain it. Just thank you so much. God bless. Take care of yourselves, people. See you, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy.
See you, Trip.